From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2019. Israel's President Reuven Rivlin is set to transfer the mandate to form a coalition to the leader of the Blue and White Party, Benny Gantz, after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu returned the mandate to the president yesterday, saying he was unable to form a government. Rivlin shared on social media that any faction seeking to convey its position before the president transfers the mandate to Gantz may do so in the prescribed time limits, according to which he wrote the president is allocated 3 days after Netanyahu's announcement to transfer the mandate to another member of Knesset. The Times of Israel reports that Gantz this morning said he was optimistic about his chances of forming a coalition, with the report also noting that Gantz is set to become the first person in more than a decade, other than Netanyahu, to be tasked with the challenge. And by the way, Mark Gallup spoke to the Times of Israel's Chaviv Retigur about the recent political developments in Israel. You can watch it on In the News coming up tonight right after this newscast. U.S. President Donald Trump said yesterday that in consideration of Israel and of Jordan, a small number of American troops will remain in Syria, following the recent announcement of U.S. troops withdrawing from the country. The president said the U.S. was asked by Israel and Jordan to leave some U.S. forces in areas that are close to their borders. Democratic presidential hopeful Pete Buttigieg said that U.S. aid to Israel could be used to get the country closer to U.S. policy positions. On Friday, Buttigieg was asked to condition aid to Israel over the quote-unquote occupation by a Jewish student and activist of If Not Now, which calls itself a Jewish progressive group opposing the Israeli occupation. Buttigieg fell short of saying that he would do that. He did say there was room for guidance when it comes to Israel and that certain actions, if taken by Israel, could be a problem.
So what I'll say is that I think that the aid is leverage to guide Israel in the right direction. And if, for example, there is follow-through on these threats of annexation, I'm committed to ensuring that the U.S. is not footing the bill for that. I'm not going to commit now to all of the ways that that leverage can and should be used, but I will say that our policy goal will be to do what you do when a friend is moving in a way that you're worried about, which is to put your arm around your friend and guide them somewhere better.
A prominent synagogue in our nation's capital was vandalized with anti-Semitic graffiti. The Washington Jewish Week reports that Washington Hebrew congregation discovered graffiti, including anti-Israel and hate-filled messages on their building last week. The Jewish Community Relations Council of Greater Washington and the Jewish Federation of Greater Washington posted a joint statement about the incident, writing, "Let us remember that although we cannot outlaw hate, we must and will continue to send a strong message to the community that these hateful expressions will not be tolerated. We must continue to come together as a community to reject hate in all of its forms." The Washington Metropolitan Police Department is conducting a full investigation. And police in Palm Springs, California are investigating a swastika that was drawn outside the office of a Jewish attorney. KESQ News Channel 3 reported that the hateful symbol was found spray painted on the Weinstein and Associates firm's sign on Saturday. Iran has officially been suspended for its boycotting of Israeli athletes. The International Judo Federation announced the final suspension of the Islamic Republic's Judo Association from competitions and other activities until it gives strong guarantees and proves that they will respect the IJF statutes and accept that their athletes fight against Israeli athletes. The Iran Judo Federation now has 21 days to appeal the decision. The ruling follows the incident we reported to you about where Iranian judoka Saeed Mollai was allegedly forced to throw a match at the World Championships in Tokyo this past August in order to avoid facing Israeli judoka Sagi Muki. Mollai, by the way, left his team in protest over the policy and has not returned to Iran. Pennsylvania Governor Tom Wolf signed a proclamation last week calling for a day of remembrance and ordering state flags to fly at half-mast this coming Sunday in Pennsylvania to mark the first anniversary of the Tree of Life shooting in Pittsburgh that left 11 worshipers dead. October the 27th will now be known in the Keystone State as Remember, Repair, Together Day. A day, Wolf said, of honoring the victims and building bridges of understanding. The proclamation states this is a day for action in the name of love and inclusion. Wolf, by the way, visited Auschwitz last month and wrote the names of the 11 Tree of Life victims in the memorial site's guest book. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, October the 22nd. At 7 o'clock, Shaul Magid discusses how Martin Buber looked to tie the teaching of Jesus and Hasidism together. At 8, it's a discussion on the influences of the Pharisees on Jesus, Christianity, and anti-Semitism today. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with brand ambassador for Jerusalem U, Chloe Valdery. At 10, the 2017 New York Board of Rabbis Humanitarian Awards dinner. And coming up right after this newscast, Mark Golub speaks with political correspondent for the Times of Israel, Chaviv Retegur, about recent events, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's failure to form a coalition and what's next. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, October the 22nd, 2019. I'm Teisha Bader.